So, notice we all agree. Muslims, so Mufassal Islam, Adnan Rashid, we all agree that the Bible contradicts the Quran. We all agree that the Gospels contradict the Quran. The question is, does the Quran affirm the inspiration and the preservation and the authority of the Gospel that we have? If so, game over. Game over. Your religion's false, Muslims. Your religion is false, right? If you affirm scriptures that contradict your own scriptures, then your religion has just self-destructed. So that's what we're claiming has happened. The Muslims agree with part of what we say. They agree that that our Bible contradicts their Quran. And I point out all these verses where the Quran affirms the inspiration and the preservation and the authority of our scriptures. And so I ask, show me one verse where Allah criticizes the gospel, where he says that it's been corrupted. Just show me one. And they can't do that, and they admit that they can't. So they've basically, they're granting the entire Islamic dilemma while just avoiding the conclusion, because the conclusion is that therefore Islam is false, and they do not want to acknowledge that Islam is false. Let me go ahead and read them. So this is the continuation of the one we just read. But after quoting that, he quotes Surah Al-Ma'idah 5:13-14. But because of their breach of their covenant, we cursed them and made their hearts grow hard. They changed the words from their right places and forget a good part of the message that was sent to them. Nor wilt thou cease to find them, barring a few, ever bent on new deceits. But forgive them and overlook their misdeeds. For Allah loveth those who are kind. From those too who call themselves Christians, we did take a covenant, but they forgot a good part of the message that was sent to them. So we estranged them with enmity and hatred between the one and the other to the day of judgment. And soon will Allah show them what it is they have done. So that's his other shot, and this is another fairly common passage. But Sam,
yeah, it is. I've heard it. Yeah. Now, if you read what it says about the Jews, it says something a little more harsher about what the Jews did with their scriptures than it says about the Christians. So let me real quickly go over that part. So for their breaking their covenant, we cursed them and made their hearts hard, perverting words from their meanings. Perverting words from their meanings. Now, in case he doesn't like that, I'm going to read Yusuf Ali. Yusuf Ali, this was Arbery. We cursed them and made their hearts grow hard. They changed the words from their right places, actually from their places, and forget a good part of the message. So you could say that here, what the indictment against the Jews is a little harsher because it says they perverted words from their meanings. That's Arbery's translation, right? But now let's see what it says about the Christians. And with those who say we are Christians, actually it says Nasara. We took a covenant and they have forgotten a portion of that they were reminded of. So even in the accusation, you see it's not the same. In other words, something said about the Jews, not said about the Christians. I want everyone to pay attention. It is said about the Jews, right, that they perverted words from their meanings. Now, what does that mean? Removed words from the right places. Does that mean textually? Or does it mean, again, they perverted the words, removed them from their right places contextually by their interpretation? Because you can take words out of context and distort their meaning, and in that sense, you're removing words from their right places, meaning their contextual interpretation. Is that what it means, or does it mean the text? But before I even comment on that, that charge is not made in respect to the Christians. So even at best, all you're showing is that Jews corrupted their scriptures at the time of Muhammad. But it can't be all Jews the world over. It would only be the Jews at Muhammad's time doing it. But don't forget, there were Jews scattered all over the then known world that had copies of those scriptures in their possession that these Jews that Muhammad is interacting with had no access to. That's number one. Number two, the Hebrew Bible was also in the possession of the Christians. So are you wanting us to believe that the Jews got the Christians to agree with them, even the Christians living at Muhammad's time, close to Muhammad, that the Jews somehow got the Christians to agree with them? Let's corrupt the Old Testament so that our Old Testament reads the same way, our copies and yours. You actually want us to believe that? When even the Quran acknowledges that the Christians and Jews at the time of Muhammad near Muhammad's vicinity were at war with each other, enmity towards each other. And you'll find that in chapter 2, verse 113. So again, let me repeat that point. At best, all you're proving again is a group of Jews at the time of Muhammad, in Muhammad's locale vicinity, corrupted their copies. But this says nothing about the copies in the hands of the Jews the world over. That's number one. Number two, the Christians living at Muhammad's time, in Muhammad's vicinity, they too had the Old Testament. So do you want us to actually believe Jews and Christians came together and decided to corrupt the Old Testament the same way so their copies would read the same way? Or is this simply desperate and grasping at straws? But that's assuming, by the way, that it's saying that when they removed words from the right places, it means that they changed the text, they corrupted the text, as opposed to removing them by their misinterpretation of words taken out of context. Now, how do I know it's the second view, that they're misinterpreting these words by taking them out of context? I just got done reading chapter 5, verses 43 to 48. Chapter 5, verses 43 to 48. Chapter 5, verses 66 to 68. Now, I didn't read 48 because I'm assuming maybe that will come up so we can address it later. But still, in 548, it says, "And to you, Muhammad, we sent down the book in truth, confirming what is between his hands," right? "And guarding it in safety, preserving it, muhaiminan alayh." Now, I know how Muslims try to spin that to make it mean something it doesn't. Lord willing, if that comes up, I'll address it. But folks, the contextual reading of these passages cannot mean the text is corrupted, because later on, Muhammad is telling the Jews, follow your Torah. God has sent down guidance and light in it. If you don't judge by your Torah what you have, you are unbelievers and wrongdoers. And you Christians, follow your gospel. God has sent down guidance and light in your gospel. And if you don't follow it, then you're unbelievers and wrongdoers. What else does Muhammad need to say before Muslims get it that he does not think their scriptures are corrupted, unreliable, but their scriptures are pure, preserved, incorruptible, unchangeable, and their sin is failing to live up to those scriptures, ignoring much of those scriptures, or misinterpreting those scriptures to agree with their traditions. That's the only honest, consistent interpretation of these passages if you believe the Quran is contextual and doesn't contradict itself. Now, if he's focusing on the part forget, because that's what I have had Muslims say. See, they forgot, meaning they corrupted it. Last time I checked, forgetting something doesn't mean you corrupted something. But in Muslim logic, let's go with it. Let me read what it says in reference to the Christians. "And when those who say, we are Christians, Nasara, we took covenant from them, they have forgotten a portion of that they were reminded of. So we have stirred up among them enmity and hatred till the day of resurrection, and Allah will surely tell them of the things they wrought." Now notice this. It says they forgot a portion of that which they were reminded of. So number one, they were reminded of it. That means they must be aware of the thing they're being condemned for forgetting. So what does it mean to forget? In the language of the Quran, what does it mean to forget? You don't need to guess. I'm going to read how the Quran uses this term forget. Chapter 7, verse 51. "Such as took their religion to be mere amusement and play, and were deceived by the life of the world. That day," pay attention, it's the same Arabic word for forget in chapter 7, verse 51. "That day we forget them as they forgot the meaning of this day of theirs, and as they were wont to reject our signs." So Allah says we will forget them that day as they forgot the day of this meeting with us. One more verse, and I'm going to ask David a question. Chapter 9, verse 67. "The hypocrites, men and women, have an understanding with each other. They enjoin evil and forbid what is just, and are close with their hands. They have forgotten Allah, so he has forgotten them. Verily, the hypocrites are rebellious and perverse." Now, help me understand logic, David, because remember, I'm not that logical. My brain doesn't work that way.
I'm going to go ahead and cut you off right now. Allah's been corrupted. That's the conclusion. Go ahead.
Because they forgot Allah.
They forgot Allah, so he's been corrupted.
And the day of judgment they forgot.
It's been corrupted. It's all corrupted.
And Allah forgets them. So, I mean, Allah must have amnesia because he doesn't remember them.
They've been corrupted too. He doesn't remember.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. In other words, if you let the Quran speak, you know what forget means? It's simply the Quranic way of saying they ignored those parts as if those parts weren't there. Forget doesn't mean, oh man, Man, I swore there was some, man, what happened, man? It means they ignored it. They overlooked it. They set it aside. Not they corrupted it or they weren't aware that it existed. That's not how the Quran uses this term. So this is desperate and pathetic, to say the least.